Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad.
So what do you got here?
I've got a first edition book, The First Men in the Moon by H.G. Wells. It's a sci-fi book from 1901, I believe.
Yeah, I've just never really been a science fiction guy either. The First Men in the Moon? I thought you were going to say Neil Armstrong.
No. I'm at the pawn shop today, and I'm looking to sell my first edition H.G. Wells, The First Men in the Moon. I'm looking to sell this book because it doesn't really fall into what I actually collect. I actually collect pre-1900s Bibles, and so I'm hoping that this piece will actually add to somebody's collection that's truly into it. I'm hoping to get $4,000 for my first edition, The First Men in the Moon book.
This is pretty cool, man. Tell me where you got it.
I got it at a sale in Topeka, Kansas. A library had been given to a Masonic temple there, and when they sold the building, they had a sale, and I purchased it then.
H.G. Wells, I'm not really all that familiar with him. I know he was a really, really prominent writer. He wrote The Time Machine, War of the Worlds. Obviously, he wrote this one. It's considered one of the first sci-fi classics. I wish I knew more about him, quite honestly. So what are you looking to do with it?
I'm looking to sell it.
And what are you looking to get out of it?
I'd like to get $4,000 for it.
Okay, I don't know if that's out of the realm of possibility here, actually. The fact that you say it's a first edition tells me it could be worth a lot of money. It's over 100 years old. I mean, it looks like it's in really, really good condition, especially since it was from a library. But when it comes to stuff like this, I know just enough to get me in a whole lot of trouble. My friend Rebecca's in town. This is her whole thing that she does here is old books, rare books. You mind if I give her a call?
Yeah, no, it sounds great.
All right, do me a favor, hang out. I'll be back in a few, okay?
All right, appreciate it. I'm hoping the expert will actually tell me that because of the condition of it, it's even more valuable than I anticipated.
He's got a first edition H.G. Wells, The First Men in the Moon. I literally almost thought it was about Neil Armstrong. I just don't know enough about it.
Well, this is actually the groundwork for the people who were inspired to get Neil Armstrong on the moon. Wells meant to say, okay, here are the possibilities. This is the fantasy and the excitement and the adventure of space. And Wells was such a great storyteller that he sold many, many, many copies, and he was able to put a lot of really deep philosophical and scientific ideas into his novels that people read as adventure stories. And that inspired an entire generation of scientists leading up into the space race.
Okay, well, he says it's a first edition. Do you mind taking a look at it for me?
All right, so yes, we've got our Bowen Merrill. This is a US publisher. H.G. Wells is British. One thing that's interesting about this time period was that the US did not have great copyright laws with other countries, and you had to get a book actually printed in the United States in order to secure copyright. So even though he's a UK author, he had to make sure he didn't get pirated. So this one is, in fact, harder to find and technically takes priority over the London edition.
And he said it came from a library, which is just, like I said, shocking.
It actually came from two libraries. So first, you have what we call the book plate, the sort of ownership label of a private collector, and then you have what we might call an institutional library marking. One of those is perfectly fine on the collectible market because they tell a little bit about the history, the provenance of the book. The institutional library marking is trickier, though, because it tends to mean books get handled a lot. You know, when you're checking out a library book, you don't necessarily take as good of care of it.
Right.
And this is in nice shape, considering that it is ex-library. But the word ex-library is kind of deadly in rare book collecting.
Not something I was aware of.
Yeah, it is something. It's a really 20th century thing. So if you collect earlier than that, it doesn't come up nearly as much.
I see.
So what do you think it's worth?
So if it were beautiful and we weren't talking about ex-library, it could be $2,000 in a retail environment. But given that you've killed the collector demand by the ex-library, it's probably more like $750. Not what you wanted to hear.
Not exactly what I was hoping you were going to say today.
I understand.
All right, well, thank you for everything you do.
Yep. Glad I could be of help to
Thank you.
one of you at least.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
So you heard what she said, and I trust her completely. To find a book collector that would be into this, that would have to be kind of like somebody new to collecting books who doesn't know about the whole library thing yet. So I'd have to offer you like $200.
No, I mean, I'd probably do 1,000, but that'd be the best.
Well, I don't see us making a deal, man. I'm always here, man, if you ever change your mind, okay?
All right, I appreciate it.
Take care.
Thanks. Well, I was kind of shooting for the moon today with my asking price, it turns out, but it'll still be a great part of my collection, and I'm looking forward to hold on to it for now.